Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, October 21st, 2024. So that means this will have covered a 2-week period this time of October 7th through the 20th of 2024. So obviously I didn't do one last week because I had a family member that passed away, and I do want to say thank you everyone for the well wishes, the thoughts, prayers, everything, and the understanding. We're all doing okay. Like I sort of mentioned previously, this death was more expected, I guess, than a lot of the ones in our family have normally been. So we had, I guess, more time to process knowing what was going to happen. And we're all just glad that she is not in pain anymore. She is up in heaven now with the rest of her family. So we're just happy about that aspect of it, even though it's still sad. So, in terms of trophy progress over these last couple weeks, it was actually pretty successful overall. Power Wash Simulator's DLC came out at like the best possible time because it was a game I could just, chill out to and not have to worry about during all that. So, in some ways, that was a really good time for it to release. So, first and foremost, a bit of unfortunate news. We all knew this was coming, don't get me wrong, we all knew this was going to happen. It doesn't mean I can't complain about it, though. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has just received its second DLC, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be releasing an entire trophy list analysis of the game. It really doesn't look particularly hard, just kind of grindy, and the 66,666 zombies kill trophy that was rumored is not in the game, thank God. But yeah, it's a lot of single player, a good amount of multiplayer, but we're wondering if it's going to carry over between multiplayer and zombies, and if it does, then this is actually going to be one of the easier Black Ops trophy lists, most likely, unless the Easter eggs are just stupidly ridiculous or something. So yeah, that'll be its own video tomorrow, so yeah, it's there. We all knew it was going to happen. It doesn't mean we have to be happy about it. So in terms of actual trophy progress the last couple weeks, it was made in 5 different games. So first off, we have Dead Rising 2 Off the Record for PS4. I still have not been particularly enjoying this version of this game purely because it's crashed on me like 3 or 4 times already in 3 streams, so it just kind of discourages me from wanting to really play it all that much. So let's see, we have 2 trophies up here that are related to photos. We'll get those eventually. 2 more photo-based trophies that are not going to be a problem. I'll do those in the sandbox mode. A co-op trophy, we'll worry about that later. Then you have to do all the medals in sandbox mode. You have to get a gold medal on all single-player and co-op challenges. So I will both need to find a partner for that and then do it. But I'm going to wait and do this until after I've finished getting to, level 50 and getting pretty much everything done in the single-player, getting fully leveled up, and then go over and jump into this stuff. Because we're going to have to do at least one more playthrough of the campaign of the main story mode. Well, hopefully only one more playthrough, because we're not even done with the first one yet. So this was, of course, a story-related trophy in Case 5, I believe it was, because they moved the case numbers around a lot in this one. And then, of course, these last 4 are all story-related as long as we go into overtime mode, which we will do. The Mutiny, this is a highly, highly missable trophy. You have to do the Hunger Pains mission, which brings back this creepy fat incel guy. And then he starts annoying and harassing all the women in the safe house, and that's the quest you have to do to stop the mutiny from happening. And then we killed 1,337 zombies, the Leet Killer trophy. That is basically unmissable, but in all honesty, it would be unmissable given this trophy right here that we're going to do in Sandbox. I've started doing the jump kick, I think, to start knocking out a few kills from that. This one, you need a specific combo card that I might have by now. Let's see. All the combo cards, we'll get that by the time that we're done with all the challenges and level 50 and everything. Because I think there's like 75 total in this game, so there's a lot more room for error. Skill moves you'll get by level 50. This one we can do in Sandbox. This one I'll do in Sandbox with a partner. This one I can do in Sandbox. So basically, the goal of this first playthrough is to just keep playing, leveling up, doing all that stuff, and completing the entire story. And in the second playthrough, one of the trophies we'll be going for is the 8 survivors into a vehicle. Or, no, wait, I think that's the one I'm probably actually going to save for a third, very slight cleanup playthrough that only goes through about the first in-game day. for reasons that I'll get to in a second. Getting a survivor drunk, that is fairly easy. Just give them 3 alcoholic beverages and they'll get drunk. This one, it took me a little while to find all the pieces of women's clothing needed, but it did eventually work. So on this next playthrough, our goal is to do these last 3 trophies down here. We want to not consume any meat, dairy, or alcohol until the military arrives, which is actually fairly easy. Just drink orange juice, and I think that you can use mixed drinks as well. We're going to tame Snowflake, and that's not really much of a problem, so we're just going to tame her during this playthrough. And then we're going to bring Denise along for the entire storyline, which is going to suck. So we're going to be doing those 3 trophies on this next playthrough. And then we're going to do like a very slight partial third playthrough that's only going to go until about maybe halfway or 3/4 of the way through the first 24-hour period to get this 8 survivors into a vehicle. Unless I can manage to pull it off in this playthrough, it's not as likely just because Snowflake counts as a psychopath, so it might be a little bit... Well, no, Snowflake goes into the safe house no matter what, so... no, wait, now that I think about it, no, wait, I'm entirely wrong. I think this is the trophy that that I'm going to have to do on another subsequent playthrough, because, yep, that's what it is. So, I am going to try to get the 8 survivors into the clown car on the second playthrough, along with the Alpha Omega and the Pure Wall Memorial Cup, and then a third very short partial playthrough for Snowflake, because the weird mechanics of how Snowflake can't get into a vehicle. I mean, she's a tiger, so she shouldn't be able to. And some other issues with it. So, yeah, I completely forgot about that. So that'll be for a future, like, very short partial playthrough where we don't care about the story or anything. And then just all the sandbox mode stuff. So the next game I finished was Resident Evil 4 PS4 version. It is now 100% complete. So I think I already had the Platinum Trophy by the time that the previous trophy video would have gone up. I did. So it was on the 6th, I think. Yep, so it was right before I would have recorded that video. So that one was all done. Or, no, that might have been... Yeah, that was it, I think. I'm trying to remember. Was that... I think that was actually covered in the last trophy video, now that I think about it. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit discombobulated. It's because it's been a couple of weeks. So, in terms of major trophy progress though, it was in the DLC, the Separate Ways DLC. So you get 3 trophies here just for finishing it on any difficulty. The guide recommends doing a first playthrough on Assisted while getting all of the treasures and doing all the merchant requests, because that'll allow you to purchase and fully upgrade a knife that doesn't break. So definitely recommend doing that. Then it's recommended to do a second playthrough on Professional, or is it Hardcore? I think it's either Hardcore or Professional, and you're supposed to get an S rank on it, I think. Okay, second playthrough that you're supposed to do is New Game Plus Professional with an A rank. I think I actually I got very close to getting an S rank, but I got the A rank because that unlocks the Chicago Sweeper for all of your future playthroughs. Then I actually did this one a little bit differently. I went ahead and did a third playthrough. This time around, I did it on Hardcore S+, I believe it was. So yeah, Hardcore S+ run. And doing that unlocks another item. It unlocks the chicken hat, and that reduces the damage that you take when you wear it. And then I went in and did Professional S+ on my final playthrough, and I think it did make it a little bit easier. Obviously, it meant a little bit more time had to go into this 100%, but it did make my life a little bit easier, so it was okay. Obviously, I did use the golden tickets because I already have them from the PS5 version. Yeah, you can insult that all you want. I really don't care. It makes my life easier, and I just don't really want to deal with doing something as brutal as S+ on this one without some sort of advantage, because Separate Ways, it's a very tight time limit for this, and it's just not an easy time. So I would definitely recommend, if you're struggling with all of this, definitely go with the golden ticket option. So yeah, that's Resident Evil 4 on the PS4 done. That's another Resident Evil game completed. Now the only numbered ones I'm missing are 0, and then I'm missing the PS4 version of Resident Evil 6, and then the PS5 version of 7, and both versions of Village or Resident Evil 8, whatever you want to call it. I will get to both versions of Resident Evil 8 eventually. Resident Evil 7, I'm a little bit more iffy about just because of the DLC. I don't have a problem doing the Platinum again, it's just doing some of the DLC again because the auto pop that you get is random, like everyone gets different trophies to auto pop for some reason. And then Resident Evil 6 on PS4, I have no idea if that's ever going to happen because it's so much multiplayer boosting for DLC, even though the Platinum's pretty easy. So the next game I did was the Shrek DLC for Power Wash Simulator, both versions. This is a pretty typical DLC for Power Wash Simulator. It comes with 5 jobs, and you get 1 trophy for finishing each of the 5 jobs, which are in this order. I will say this DLC felt a little bit longer than some of the other ones. Duloc was a pretty long job this time around. It was like a $600 in-game dollar job, whereas Hansel's Honeymoon and Shrek's Swamp were each around $200 or so. So those two weren't particularly long, but Duloc was fairly long, and Fairy Godmothers was fairly long. And then the Dragon's Lair is sort of in between the 2 sets of them, so I think Fairy Godmothers is the longest, then Duloc, then Dragon's Lair, then these 2 are both about the same. So just keep that in mind that this is maybe a little bit longer of a DLC than some of the others. And then, of course, you have your miscellaneous trophies, 1 per level. So for Shrek Swamp, you just have to clean the outhouse door and the outhouse door handle first. Just mark those on your menu list and just clean those first. It's pretty typical type of trophy for Power Wash Simulator. Duloc, it's actually very easy. It's just interact with the information stand lever that activates all those little puppet things from the original Shrek movie. Then in Hansel's Honeymoon, just stand inside of the onion carriage for 30 seconds. Super easy. Fairy Godmother's another super easy one. Just get inside of the wheel and run on it for 20 seconds. So very, very easy. And then finally, for the Gallery Tapestries last, these are real big tapestries that are up in the upper area of this sort of level. And there's 8 of them, so you might want to just mark them so you know not to clean them until last. They're pretty big, so you can clean sort of the outer edges of them to get the walls around them. You just, as long as you don't clean the central parts of it, you should be good to go. Thankfully, it is a bigger object, but again, this is probably my least favorite type of trophy in the Power Wash Simulator versions, is when they make you do this, when they make you clean something last instead of first, just because there's a lot more room for error on those. That, and along with the challenge medals, or whatever you want to call it. So that was the PS4, and then the PS5 version. Same thing, not difficult at all, no major issues with it, but I will say, several people have been saying that the PS5 version has a lot of issues now with getting even into the DLC and it not crashing. Now, I didn't run into any problems with this game with the PS5 version. I got right into it with no issues, but some people have been reporting issues with it, so just maybe keep that in mind and maybe just stick with doing the PS4 version at this moment until the PS5 version. I mean, I didn't run into any problems, but you might just want to wait until the PS5 version is like fully fixed or something. But I'm curious to see what the regular trophy list looks like now. It's still at a 1%. I'm actually a little surprised it hasn't gone up any more than that. So it doesn't look like they've changed any of the other trophies. Yeah, the van was always the red nozzle. Yeah, it doesn't look like they've really changed anything else in this. I remember that they did change that 1 trophy for the washroom. So at least they fixed that because that one was kind of broken at first. And everything else seems to be the same. Obviously, people can get the Platinum Trophy now because this Gold Trophy's available again. And then the career mode is, of course, stars, that one. And then the challenge medals are probably still the hardest part of the base game. There's probably a lot more of them now, though. So there's probably a lot more that you can at least try if you're struggling nowadays. And then, of course, you have the other DLCs. So, like I remember, the SpongeBob DLC had 6 jobs. But the bus and the paddy wagon and the invisible boatmobile were all really short, whereas the Conch Street, Krusty Krab, and Mermalair were all fairly long. Back to the Future, the van and the DeLorean were both pretty quick. The Clock Tower and Holomax Theater weren't too bad, and neither was the Time Train. It just had a ridiculous number of little tiny intricate pieces you had to clean. Then the Warhammer DLC, the Land Raider, I'm trying to remember. I don't really remember this DLC that well because I'm not super knowledgeable on this. The Thunderhawk was pretty time-consuming, I remember. But the other 4, I want to say, like, the Battle Tank wasn't too bad. One of these sort of Walker mechs wasn't too bad, and the other ones were a little bit tougher. And then with the Alice DLC, the Wonderland entrance wasn't massive. The White Rabbit's house wasn't massive. The Caterpillar Mushrooms were kind of massive because there was so much to them. And the Mad Tea Party, I think, was quite extensive as well. And I know that the Queen of Hearts was a little bit extensive along with those. So, yeah, I'd say this DLC might have been on the slightly longer end by Power Wash Simulator standards. As always, I love Power Wash Simulator. I just kind of wish that they would go ahead and just release them on PS5 moving forward. Just let the PS4 version sit there and be done. And finally, we have Astrobot for the PS5. So I actually started this the previous week, but of course didn't get to record a trophy video for that week. So we're going to be talking about 2 streams worth of content here for Astrobot. So this game is a lot of fun, absolutely loving it so far. It has been a very fun experience so far. Now, the Platinum Trophy, people have said that it's a little bit harder than maybe some people think it will be, and I feel like I could kind of see that with some of the challenge levels that I've come across so far. So just maybe keep in mind it might be a little bit harder than you're actually thinking. So these first 3 trophies are all story related for finishing the first 3 worlds. And presumably these remaining 3 are for finishing the other 3 worlds after that. So then you have to rescue all the bots in the game. So there are about 300 in the base game and about another 10 in the DLC. So just keep that in mind, but just rescue all the bots throughout the game. You'll get a bunch of these trophies. Then I'm assuming this one is like the final or a final story trophy or something, or a final secret. And you have to find all of the puzzle pieces in the game. You have to open up all of the areas of the game, which you're going to get as you complete each world. Then let's see, collect all the stuff from the Gacha Lab. You have to get 150 out of the 160 or so prizes in there. I think it's 169. Nice. The photo spot I haven't been able to get to work. I think it's because I don't have something that I need to be able to do it yet. So it's not something I'm going to be able to do until a little bit later. Then all the ship parts singing together in Crash Side. I mean, I don't even have all the ship parts yet, so can't do it. Then there are some specific, like, level-specific trophies in here. This one I'm assuming is level-specific. This one you just have to knock the basketball in during the Construction Derby level. So the Golden Butterfly and the Ape Escape level, I mean, I didn't know about that one. This one, I got most of the Ravens. I knew the Ravens had something to do with the level. I just didn't know what. I didn't know it was a trophy. So 6 out of the 8 of those are done. Then 2 out of the 3 eggs in Dune or Dude rating. So that's like the Uncharted or Tomb Raider level. Then let's see. I don't think I've gotten there yet. Yep, that's the Aloy Horizon level. So haven't gotten there yet. And then this one I probably could have done by now, but I'm not entirely sure what way you do it in. Then this one people told me about, to do this in the sort of casino level. Just make sure that you win the jackpot on all 4 slot machines. Then this one, I don't know if I've gone to that level yet or not. Then you have a picture one, which again, I don't think I can do the pictures yet. Then this one, I think you just have to... I mean, I know who it is, I just don't know exactly what you do for it. Then this one I ended up getting at some point pretty much by accident while wandering around Crash Site, which is the hub world. Then this one, I think I have Crash rescued, so I might actually be able to do that one. This one, I'm not entirely sure what it is. This one, I'm not entirely sure what 2 characters it is or if I even have them yet. Don't know what this one is. Don't know what this one is. I'm assuming these are for different things when you get the bots to all assemble together. This one, I actually probably could do this one now because I think I have enough bots for it. I mean, I know I have enough bots for it. And then climb to the top of the mothership, which I don't think you can do until a little bit later. So, yeah, the Platinum Trophy's coming along, but it's still going to be a couple more streams till we get it fully done. And then we have released a DLC for Astrobot with a new 6 trophies. So... basically, they're releasing a new speedrun level every week for 5 consecutive weeks, and each one contains 2 bots, and you'll get all 10 of your bots in this DLC by just beating certain speedrun times on each level, and that's how you're going to get all 6 trophies. I have not started on this yet. Obviously, only one of them is currently available, but more will become available this week and then the week after and so on. So, yeah, Astrobot is a great game, having a lot of fun with it. Can't wait to play and stream some more of it. So, let's sync our trophies on up. So with that, level 882, 21%, 29,303 total trophies, 842 platinums, 5,618 golds, 7,870 silvers, 14,973 bronzes. So plans for the upcoming week. Obviously going to continue working on Astro as well as some more of Dead Rising 2 off the record. So those are really the only two major games for now. Black Ops 6 is obviously now up there, but I don't know when I'm going to buy it. I mean, I could buy it fairly early on and just be able to do the multiplayer stuff early. I just don't know yet if that's exactly what I want to do. I guess I'll figure that out in the near future. But the main focuses for now are Astrobot and Dead Rising 2 off the record, and hopefully making a good bit of progress on those. Schedule should be mostly back to normal moving forward, a few streams every week. And the Star Wars Battlefront video is about 90% of the way edited, so it should be out this coming weekend, probably on Sunday. So I'm happy for that one, even though it's not, the most challenging game out there. It was a super important milestone for me because I absolutely love the original PS2 version of the game. So very excited to share that video. And then otherwise, the next one after that will be Fallout 4, and then I think Thrillville comes next, and then Astro's Playroom. And then Dead Rising 2 off the record and Astrobot, and then, maybe Black Ops 6 will be higher up there, so I guess we'll have to see. Of course, Saturdays might not always get streams at this time of year just because it's college football season, and I'm usually spending most of my Saturdays watching football, so that's my reasoning for there not always being Saturday streams. So thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell if you haven't done so already. Let me know down in the comments what you guys have been working on this past week, if you're picking up Black Ops 6 or not. And I will see y'all later this week for more content.